Hi friends, Singlecut time. Got Weird and Gilly for the first time in a packaging. I've had a taste of it on tap, and I wasn't super impressed. But Singlecut batches seem to vary a little bit, and I've heard great things about this from other people, and it was canned 9 days ago, or what's the date today? I think it was 9 days ago. And it's supposed to be one of their just juicy IPAs, and it's not super strong. It's 6.6. It's not over 100 IBUs as they list for most of their IPAs and double IPAs. Hopefully it'll be that way, because I find Singlecut sometimes a little too bitter and earthy and pithy. They're always pretty intense beers, well made, but some of their beers I love, some I would probably pass on if I got the chance to buy again. I don't know what hops exactly are in this one, but they only say it's American hops. It looks nice as usual. It's a tad darker than some other New England IPAs, but that's all right. They don't say anything about what malts they use. Yeah, there's nothing special in this one malt-wise. And it looks nice in there. It's finely bubbled with a few soapy bubbles on the edges. This is a mixture of earthy dankness and orange juice, grapefruit juice, but kind of like bitter grapefruit juice. I wonder if there's mosaic in here. There's a little bit of that peach ring thing. Yeah, I feel like there's a good chance there's mosaic in here. On tap, there is listed a version of this that says Weird and Gilly with mosaic, and then a version that says Weird and Gilly with Galaxy. There can't be Galaxy in this because it's not from America, but maybe there's mosaic. I don't know. It's unclear. I didn't look super hard, but whatever. There's a little bit of heat in there. I'm not smelling actual like booze aroma, but just something that seems like it's got some bitterness. It's got some astringency. But a lot of intense, not sweet, super ripe fruits, but still not underripe fruits, just like pithy fruits. Definitely some peachiness in there too. It doesn't smell like it's going to be a sweet, syrupy peach, pineapples, and syrup type thing, though. Seems like there's always a good amount of bitterness in these Singlecut ones. Yeah, that's nice. The finish is pretty mild, so I'm thinking that this one actually will be one that's not really like soapy and pithy. After a while, it finishes with a nice, pretty bright citrus and tropical tastes. Finishes like I just drank some orange juice with a little bit of grapefruit, maybe a splash of peach. Yeah, so far I'm enjoying this quite a bit. There's some earthiness happening. It's not quite pine. Very light, maybe like cedary type woody thing. I hopefully won't build up too much because it's still very fruity in the flavor. And I can take a few gulps without it being too bitter. This is rather nice. And it's still not too sweet. But it's 6.6%, and they call it an IPA, but I feel like it's kind of like the Fort Point Pale Ale of Trillium, except that all the Trillium ones tend to be a little bit sweeter and less bitter in comparison to Singlecut style. But this one I'm finding pretty palatable. But it's mostly citrus with just some tropical qualities on the edges. I'm not getting any funky garlic, onion happening. It's just like a generic earthy, woody sort of thing. Maybe slightly sappy, not quite all out pine, but the sappiness is kind of building up on my tongue now. I am getting more bitterness. But it's still kind of gulpable and refreshing. Some people might say it's crushable. But actually, I think still my favorite single cut might be their Session IPA, which I have yet to get cans of. I don't think I've done a review of it, because that one has been available on tap. Seems like more readily for the last few years. What's their Session IPA called? The Billy 18 Watt. That one I like so much because it doesn't have the intense bitterness of a lot of these single cuts that kind of turns me off and moves the beer out of the fruitier realm. But it still has the intensity and the body. Like all these single cut beers, they're all gonna be a pretty intense experience, which is great because there's a lot of these New England IPAs that are just a little too sweet and too soft on the palate and mild, and I think that turns off some people who are looking for, a really in-your-face IPA experience. And single cut's always that. I would say the only one that I've had is their Billy 18 Watt Session IPA that hasn't been like an assault on the palate. But this one's just kind of in between. My friends are having fun over there, causing noises, so don't be afraid if you hear yelping. Yeah, but it does end up getting into this spicy, earthy realm with this beer as I drink more of it. But it's still a fresh like spicy, peppery orange. The fruit's not getting overwhelmed, and it's not an unpleasant bitterness or too soapy. There's like a very slight soapiness in this one. Yeah, it's good. I give it like 82 or 3 or something like that. It's not my favorite from Single Cut. I've had several beers from them that were like really, really awesome. They brought so much complexity of fruit and dankness and everything. This one's all that kind of dialed back a little bit, so it's definitely good. And I don't think I've had any beers in the 6 to 7% range from them. So hopefully they'll keep doing stuff like this, because I think it's a pretty darn good beer. But I wish they had thrown like Galaxy or Nelson in this one, not just the American hops, because the American hops, at least in this, seem a little bit one-sided. But thankfully it doesn't have the onion garlic thing that's overwhelming, like I noticed from some of these Northeast style IPAs. Yeah, I'm still not getting that. Maybe it's a little cold, so it's covering it up. Yeah, it's mostly this weird earthy soapy thing. That sometimes seems to negate the fruitiness, but this one is still pretty fruity enough on the edges for me to recommend it. Goodbye.